The farmer and his children. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a hardworking farmer named Mr. John. He was a man of simple pleasures who found joy in the sun rising over his fields, the sound of birds singing in the trees, and the laughter of his three beloved children, James, Peter, and Emma. James, the eldest, was strong and determined, always ready to take on any challenge. Peter, the middle child, was quick and clever, always coming up with new ideas. Emma, the youngest, was gentle and kind, with a smile that could brighten even the darkest days. Mr. John's farm was the heart of their home. It was a place where the children learned the value of hard work and the beauty of nature. Every morning, Mr. John would wake up at dawn, and the first thing he did was look out at his fields. He grew corn, carrots, potatoes, and other vegetables that the family sold at the village market. The fields were lush and green, thanks to the care and attention he and his children gave them. James loved helping his father with the heavy lifting. He would carry baskets of vegetables from the fields to the storage shed, his muscles growing stronger each day. Peter was always quick to notice when the plants needed watering. He had a knack for knowing just how much water each plant needed, and he would run back and forth with his watering can, making sure everything was just right. Emma, though smaller and younger than her brothers, had a special touch when it came to picking the vegetables. She knew exactly when each carrot was ripe and when the tomatoes were at their juiciest. The three children worked together as a team, and their father was proud of how responsible and hardworking they were. One summer, however, something strange happened. The rains that usually came in the afternoon stopped. Day after day, the sun blazed in the sky, but no rain fell. The grass turned brown, the stream near their farm began to dry up, and the crop started to wither. Mr. John grew worried. He knew that without water, the crops would die, and they would have nothing to sell at the market. The family depended on the farm for their food and income, and without it, they would be in trouble. One evening, after a long day of working in the scorching sun, Mr. John sat down with his children under the big oak tree near their house. He sighed deeply. "Children," he said, "we are facing a serious problem. If it doesn't rain soon, our crops will fail, and we won't have enough food to eat or sell." The children looked at each other with concern. They could see how worried their father was, and they wanted to help. James was the first to speak. "Father," he said, "we have to do something. We can't just wait for the rain. Maybe we can find another way to get water to the crops." Peter nodded in agreement. "I've been thinking about the stream not too far from here," he said. "Even though it's smaller now, there's still some water in it. If we could somehow bring that water to our fields, it might help the crop survive." Mr. John listened carefully to his son's ideas. He was impressed by their determination and their willingness to help. "That's a good idea, Peter," he said. "But it will be a lot of work to dig a channel from the stream to our farm. Are you all ready for the challenge?" "We can do it, Father," James said confidently. "If we work together, we can make it happen." "And I'll help too," Emma added, her voice full of determination. The next morning, as soon as the sun rose, the family set to work. They gathered their tools, shovels, spades, and buckets, and walked to the stream. Mr. John showed them where the channel needed to be dug. It was a long distance from the stream to their farm, and the ground was hard and dry. But the children didn't complain. They knew how important this work was. James led the way, using his strength to break through the tough soil. Peter followed closely behind, helping to clear away the dirt and stones. Emma worked steadily, carrying the lighter stones away and helping wherever she could. Mr. John walked alongside them, guiding and encouraging his children. The sun beat down on them, but they didn't stop. They were determined to save their farm. Day after day, they toiled in the heat. Their hands became calloused, and their muscles ached, but they didn't give up. Slowly, the channel began to take shape. Water from the stream started to trickle into the channel, and the children's spirits lifted. They could see that their hard work was paying off. At night, after a long day of digging, they would gather in the kitchen for dinner. Mrs. John, their mother, would prepare simple meals with the food they still had. They would talk about their progress and share stories to keep their spirits high. Even though they were tired, they felt a sense of pride in what they were accomplishing together. One afternoon, as they were nearing the end of their work, something unexpected happened. Dark clouds began to gather in the sky. The wind picked up, and the air felt cool and fresh. The family paused in their work and looked up. Could it be? Emma whispered, her eyes wide with hope. As if in answer, a single raindrop fell, landing on Emma's cheek. Then another, and another. Before they knew it, the sky opened up, and rain poured down in torrents. The family cheered, running to stand under the rain, letting it soak their clothes and wash away the dust and sweat. It was a moment of pure joy and relief. The rain continued to fall, soaking the fields and filling the stream. The crops, which had been wilting and dry, began to perk up, their leaves turning green again. The family's hard work had paid off, their crops were saved. The next day, as the sun shone brightly in the sky, Mr. John and his children walked through the fields. The plants were standing tall, their leaves glistening with droplets of rain. The channel they had dug was now full of water, keeping the soil moist and nourishing the crops. Harvest time came, and the family's farm produced a bountiful crop. The corn was tall and golden, the carrots were plump and sweet, and the potatoes were big and healthy. They gathered the crops and took them to the village market, where they sold everything quickly. The villagers praised Mr. John and his children for their hard work and determination. The family was able to buy new tools and supplies, and they even had enough money left over to save for the future. As they sat down to a special feast that evening, Mr. John looked around at his children with pride. "I am so proud of all of you," he said. "You showed that with hard work, determination, and teamwork, we can overcome any challenge." James, Peter, and Emma smiled at each other, knowing that they had done something truly special. They had not only saved their farm, but they had also learned the value of perseverance and the importance of family. From that day on, whenever the village faced a problem, the people would say, "Remember Mr. John and his children. If they could save their farm, we can overcome our troubles too." And so, the story of Mr. John and his children became a legend in the village, a tale of hope, hard work, and the power of family. They continued to live happily on their farm, surrounded by the fields they had worked so hard to save. The end.